All right, good afternoon, excellent viewers, and welcome to another exciting day. And it's another amazing show. It's the Real Talk with Kike show. My name is Tolu Ajibal. I know you're expecting to see the chief host, but yes, she's not here. But I'm going to be holding it down on the show this awesome afternoon, and we're going to be getting to the heart of what is happening, and more importantly, the issues that are facing the country. There's so many things going on, but predominantly the fuel crisis and the issue of the Naira redesign note. And if you look at what has been happening for the past few weeks and even last month, there's been so much queues across different banks, people queuing to get the new notes. And not just that, even the fuel situation is getting out of hand. And you would want to say that there's a bigger picture because this is coming close to the election period. So people are asking questions, what is going on? Is there a setup somewhere? Is it that it's just what is happening? The CBN should have applied more initiative. And of course, it seems like Nigerians are facing the brunt of it. We're going to be going through all of these different areas of what is happening on the Real Talk with Kike show. As you know, Kike is always at the forefront of making sure that we talk about practical issues in society. And that is why I'm here to do justice to these various issues and topics. So, of course, it's going to be an open access day where you get to call us and get to let us know what you think about this situation and this lingering crisis. So, welcome to the show. Like I said, we have to take a breather. When we come back, we'll be getting to bits and pieces. We have Today in History and, of course, the heart of the matter. Welcome to the show.
The National Assembly of Nigeria passed a resolution making Dr. Goodluck Jonathan the acting president of Nigeria. The resolution came after the death of President Umaru Yar'Adua, who had been ill for several months and was unable to perform his duties as president. The resolution was passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives and was supported by the ruling party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, who was the vice president at the time, was sworn in as acting president on February 9, 2010. He served as acting president until May 29, 2010, when he was officially sworn in as president following the conclusion of the presidential election. This event marked a significant moment in the Nigerian history, as it was the first time in the country's history that a sitting vice president had assumed the role of acting president. It was also significant as it marked the first time that Nigeria had a president from the Ijaw ethnic group.
Right, welcome back to the Real Talk with Kike show. And to get through what happened today in history, the National Assembly of Nigeria passed the resolution making Dr. Goodluck Jonathan the acting president of Nigeria. And this resolution came after the death of the later President Umaru Yar'Adua, who had been ill for several months and was unable to perform his duties. And that resolution was passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives and was supported by the ruling party, the People's Democratic Party, and of which Dr. Goodluck Jonathan was the vice president at that time and was sworn in as the acting president. And that was on February 9, 2010. And he served as acting president until May 29, 2010, when he was officially sworn in as a president following the conclusion of a presidential election. And you would see that this event was very significant in Nigeria's history because it was actually the first time that we had a sitting vice president assume the role of an acting president. And that was the period when we lost the late president, who was Yar'Adua. And it was a very significant time for Nigerians at that time, because if you look at it, we didn't have so much representation from the Ijaw ethnic group. And Jonathan Goodluck was someone who was representing such force in that time of politics. It's a very unusual time for a president to be a president, because already we had a ruling president, but because of the illness, he had to stand in from vice president to president. And not just that, he now became the president. And I think that when you look at the politics of Nigeria, so many things change and so many things happen, and that was a very significant period in Nigeria's history. I know that the opposition there was a lot of opposition to his presidency, because in terms of the zoning, and if you look at the issue of who will become president, it was not expected that someone like Goodluck Jonathan will be president. But I believe that things happen for certain reasons, and that's what we are talking about. And to have such unanimous support from the Senate and the House of Representatives at that time supporting his presidency was something that was quite unique about Nigeria's, would I say, political climb at that period and at that moment. And just in case you didn't know, that's what happened on February 9 in 2010. And I know that for several months when President Umar Yar'Adua was ill, there was a lot of speculations on what was going to happen, on what would take place in the political climate. It seems like African leaders, when there's some sort of illness, they tend to hide what is happening, and then at the end of the day, people are left stranded. But at the end of everything, we had the president, Goodluck Jonathan, assume the presidency, and he served for the period of time in which he served. And like we always say, when it comes to Nigeria's history, it's always very important that we learn from history to be able to know how we can plot the chart of the future, because currently what it is that we're facing crisis, and we are in a very sensitive political situation towards not just electing the next president who will govern us for the next 4 years, but also just making sure that we are at the forefront of change in Nigeria, because a lot of things are happening in the country as it is, and we'll be going to those issues. Like we said, we're going to be opening the phone lines for you to call us and let us know what you think about the situation. And one thing I know is that if we're able to get to the bottom of this situation, I believe we'll have a safe elections. Now already there's talks of maybe postponement of elections. There's talks of CBN saying that they don't want that to interfere with the elections. There's a whole lot of talking back and forth, and it's almost as if that Nigerians are caught in the midst of this quagmire. But it remains to see how we will be able to just move from one level to the other, even with these issues, and still go ahead and have the right elections. And that was for context of what happened today in history. Goodluck Jonathan was made the acting president of Nigeria. I know that in some countries, when you have situations like this, sometimes the military wants to take him, but I'm very glad that this happened. And for those who don't know the history, I would say it's a good time for you to go back and check Google. Like we always say, it is very important you go back to the history books to find out what happened and what obtained during that period, to be able to determine how best, Nigeria can change. Because if you don't know your history, it seems like you just keep making the same mistakes over and over. So that's for context. February 9, the National Assembly of Nigeria passed a resolution making Dr. Goodluck Jonathan the acting president of Nigeria. I don't know if possibly this is a scenario or a situation that may happen again, and how, because we have the APC, we have the PDP, we have other opposition parties, how they were able to adjust to the issue of a vice president becoming a president and, now becoming properly elected as the president of the country. But of course, like we're saying, there's so many issues that we're going to be talking about on the show. It's the Real Talk with Kike show, and I'm holding it down on this amazing afternoon. I know that you obviously want to lend your voice to some of the issues that we're going to be getting into, and of course, the heart of the matter is the heart of the people. Of course, I will be taking a quick break. When I come back, we'll be getting to some of the talking points and some of the issues that we're facing and how best to address it. What is the solution? What are the speculations? What are people talking about? And what is the way forward? We'll take a break, and when we come back, we have more for you on the show. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back again to the Real Talk with Kike show. And I introduced myself earlier for those who are just tuning in. My name is Tolu Ajibala, and we took today in history. But more importantly, we're going to the heart of the discussion. And some of the issues that we're facing, the Naira redesign issue, and more importantly, this is close up to the election. And you know that on the Real Talk with Kike show, her mandate is to lend her voice through Real Talk on societal issues. But more importantly, let's take a look and go back into history. Now, the idea of an interim government was an idea that started by the late General Ibrahim Babangida, which was in 1993 when he messed up the general elections of 1993. And then he decided to hand over to Chief Ernest Shonekan. But that government was short-lasted, it was short-lived, because in less than 90 days, it was dissolved by General Sani Abacha, who later imposed himself as the head of the state of Nigeria. But coming to recent times, there seems to be issues or rumors of cabals who are planning to achieve some sort of extension on Buhari's tenure by creating an interim government. And if the election does not hold this February, well, some school of thought are saying that is because the fuel crisis is and the Naira redesign crisis is in the front burner. That may cause a bit of disrupt and unrest for Nigerians. And you know how we do it on Real Talk with Kike. She lent her voice through talking about contemporary issues and things that affect members of society. And I want you to call us and let us know what you think about some of these issues. And would obviously like to get more clarity and more opinion on what is happening, because at the end of the day, if we have an interim government, that will definitely affect the country as a whole. This is something that I don't think we need at this point and at this period. When it comes to interim government, if you look at what happened during the military era, it was to just move one government to another government, and you would have one person who would literally stand in for the government till the government some sort of, adjust, and then we now have the proper, president or the proper ruling party. But then at the end of the day, the idea is that the cabal have to cause some sort of, would I say, unrest and frustrate the economy to panic and disruption. And if not, many people have been arguing that we're not very sure of what is happening at this point. But at the end of the day, we can only gain context to some of these things that are happening in the country. And I definitely want you to call us. The number to call is 0809 8877 400. Now, first up, what are your thoughts on the rationale for the new Naira exchange deadline, which is very, very close? It's the CBN is now saying that they don't want it to affect the elections. And of course, I know that the CBN governor, Emefiele, had said that he wants everyone to just sort of ease and just not panic, because if you look at what is happening from Abeokuta, where you had an outburst of unrest and reportedly one person was shot, to what is happening in Lagos, almost even coming down to work, you would see so many queues. It's a very, would I say, disheartening situation that we're currently facing in the country, and just seems to be too close to the election. So there's one question of, would you say it's the cabal that is causing this, or maybe a purported cabal in the works? And for the past 3 months, we've had the lingering fuel crisis, and even from the December period to now, this is February, it hasn't come to an end. And there's even been talks of the fuel marketers saying they're not going to dispense fuel anymore. There's a lot going on, and looking at all the riots, the uprising that we're facing in different parts of the country, there is cause for concern. This is something that did not happen in the middle part of last year. Why is it that it's at this point that we're facing this situation? I want you to think deeply and call us. Now, the number to call is 0809 8877 400. Let's lend your voice to the current issue that we're facing in the country regarding the new Naira design and also the fuel scarcity. And we're still going to be coming to all the other talking points regarding what is happening that has to do with an interim government. But as a Nigerian, as a citizen who obviously I believe you've gotten your PVC and you want to vote for the right person, what are your thoughts on some of these issues that we're facing at the moment? No persons, almost like this is the boiling point. And when countries face situations like this, it almost leads to anarchy. And that's one thing that we're definitely not praying for, a state of anarchy in Nigeria, because with all the things, I believe that Nigerians, would you say, some of the most resilient people. Nigerians are very strong people, and they always just try to manage the best of situation. But this situation is not one situation that you can manage, because at the end of the day, it gets worse and worse. And so many questions to ask. Why is he still lingering the fuel crisis? Why is there so much going on in less than how many weeks do we have to vote the president and to vote those who we have? It's almost like as if there's a transition going on, and we are just thrown aboard and we don't even have any hope. And even from some of the reports that came from Abeokuta, that came from Ibadan, it seems like are we the citizens failing in the game as planned? So I just want you to lend your thoughts to some of these issues that are topical and the front burner on the Real Talk with Kike show. More importantly, moving to what the president said. Now, what he came out to say in a television interview was that he will not publicly name his preferred candidate. And he said this, and I quote, he said, "I don't have any favorite for 2023. And if I do, I won't reveal his identity, because if I do, he might be eliminated." And he wanted to keep that a secret, but then he backpedaled again and saying that he's going with the leadership of that's Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So there's some of these questions where we're asking. The president has a party and belongs to a party. On the scale of leadership, it is wise for him not to openly campaign for a candidate. But in the stance of his party, he's entitled to campaign for the party's choice. And you know who the party's choice is. So at the end of the day, where is his stance regarding this issue? On one hand, the presidency is saying he has a preferred candidate. On the other hand, he has to go along with his party's a favorite. So these are some of the issues that we're going to be looking at on the show, and we want you to lend your voice to it. Like we said, we're tracking and looking at some of the major events that are rocking Nigeria, and I don't think we've had it worse like this in such a long time. So remember that you can join the conversation. The number to call is 0809 8877 400, and you should also comment. One thing that is very important to us as Nigerians is to feel the heart of people by commenting. So you can comment on Instagram, you can send a message on Twitter. It's at Real Talk with Kike on Twitter and Real Talk with Kike on Instagram. And also you can watch the show live on YouTube, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Real Talk with Kike, and your comments definitely will be appreciated. It's very important that we get to the heart of the matter, and as a Nigerian, you lend your voice to some of these issues that we're talking about. For context sake, is the Naira redesign issue, the fuel scarcity, and talks of an interim government. And not to play politics, but of course, that is what is happening at the moment. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be getting your thoughts. We'll be opening the phone lines, and we want to hear what you think about some of these issues. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Real Talk with Kike show. And of course, on today's show, we are striking one of the major events in the country. We know that every Nigerian is rocked with the crisis of fuel and the Naira redesign issue. And most recently, the idea of an interim government is being rumored. So these are just some of the things that we're going to be talking about on the show. We definitely want to hear your voice and hear your thoughts and hear your opinion and lend your thoughts to what is going on. Remember that you can be part of the conversation by calling the number 0809 8877 400, and it is showing right on your screen. And also make sure that you comment on our social media platform on Twitter. It's I'll Talk with Kike on Twitter, and on Instagram is Real Talk with Kike. And we're also streaming live on YouTube, so you can also subscribe on YouTube channel Real Talk with Kike. So going forward, some of the points, things that we're looking at is that the president, Muhammadu Buhari, said in reaction to the claims that he's part of those behind not wanting his party candidate to win the election, reacted to that claim a few days, like I said earlier before I took a break, and said, "We are here to present our candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Asiwaju has been chosen by our party, and we are fully in support of his candidature, and we will work for his victory at the polls." It's almost like the question you would ask is, are we Nigerians reading in between the lines? Is there something that we don't know that we should? The same president who didn't want to support a candidate is now solidly behind his party candidates. And could there be some sort of influence or the control of the cabal? And not even today. We've been hearing the wife of the president came out to say at one point that there are people who are behind the presidency ruling of Nigeria, that her husband is not in full charge of the country. And till date, these are some of the rumors and the issues that have been going round. But at the same time, like I said, is the president just there and no one is really controlling the affairs of the government? It would seem that because it's so close to moving from one presidency to another presidency, not too much is going to be happening. But for the longest time, who is in control of the affairs of government? If it was a working country, it was a developing country or a developed country, so to speak, when there are issues like this, of course, the CBN governor will be sacked. That is in a country that is workable, because as it is now, Nigerians cannot withdraw money. You say, okay, bring in your old Naira notes and you want to swap for new notes. The queues are there. A lot of people don't have access to their money. And because you reduce the limit of money people can take, people cannot even have access to their money. So people who are doing business cannot even access money. So there's so much that is going on. And also, looking at what the Kaduna State Governor said, Nasir El-Rufai, he claimed that some Aso Rock elements were working against the quest of the APC to remain in power beyond 2023. And that's when I was talking about the issue of an interim presidency or an interim government. And he went on live TV and said, and I quote, I believe there's some elements in the villa that want us to lose the election because they didn't get their way. They had their candidate. Their candidate did not win the primaries, and they're trying to get us to lose the election. That's what the Kaduna State Governor said, and they're hiding behind the president's desire to do what is right. So my question now, some of the thoughts in my head, is this the work of the same cabals that he's referring to and that even the wife of the president is referring to? Is this still the plot by the cabals to ensure that there is anarchy and hence an interim government? Or what do we make of some of these issues? We want to definitely hear your thoughts about it, because when we have an interim government, it will take a while to get someone else into the seat of presidency, and we definitely do not need that kind of level of problems in Nigeria. We want a safe, free and fair election, and even the president has said it several times that he's going to make sure that there is a smooth transfer of elections or presidency from one government to another government. And definitely that is at the top of the mind of Nigerians, and even with the seemingly preference of some candidates who were not even popular before are seemingly to in the heart of Nigeria. So there's a lot happening. I believe that 2023 is a really decisive year for a lot of Nigerians, and this is very important for Nigerians to say their truth, to speak their mind, to get to the heart of who they want as president. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about some of the issues of the Naira redesign and some of the talks of an interim government. But like we said, it is very important that Nigerians stay very enlightened at this period and to be abreast. If you are someone who did not really understand what it means to be in power, if you are someone who just thought, well, it's for those people, it's important that you stand abreast, because a united Nigeria or a united country is one nation. At the end of the day, you might say, oh, I'm not affected by the things that are happening, but you're affected. Even the rich in society didn't or couldn't or didn't have access to withdraw money. A lot of people who you would presume, you know, should be able to have access have not been able to get access. Even the Minister of Work said that, and said he's not been able to withdraw money. People going to POS machines, and imagine you want to withdraw, say, 10,000 naira, you're going to have to get a ridiculous or pay a ridiculous charge just to get 10,000 naira. So these are some of the issues that we're facing at the point that we're in. And like we say, it's very important that we lend our voices to some of these issues in government, because there's a need for Nigerians to stay abreast of some of the issues and to know if our politicians who claim to be progressive and development inclined will continue the good works or the good projects that they say they will do. Because almost it's like a case of, oh, I will say this, I will do this, but at the end of the day, they don't end up doing this. So please let us know what you think about some of these issues that are rocking the country. I want to know your thoughts, and the number to call, the number is on the screen, 009 8877 400. We want to get your thoughts on this issue. More importantly, that really hits me is when the president said that he had a candidate. Imagine someone saying you have a candidate and then backpedaling and now saying he was going to go with the party's decision. Because even though the party's decision is, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that might not be his own candidate. I never said that, but speculations are rife with some of these issues. And like I said, Nigerians, like they say in Yoruba, it is time for Nigerians to wake up and read in between the lines on some of these issues, because we are at the forefront of electing the right person that we want in power. But if we're rocked with the fuel scarcity, if we're rocked with the Naira redesign notes issue, that should have been a very easy feat for the CBN, or there should have just been an extension, because the timing was too short for people to bring in the old Naira notes and swap for the new Naira notes. As it is, there's a court injunction that is putting a halt on all of this. We'll bring you more details regarding that, but the CBN should have done their due diligence. But it will also seem to me that when laws and when stories or when issues, when things like this are put in motion, there is a need to consider the rest of Nigerians on how to make sure Nigerians do not face the brunt of it, because as it is, Nigerians are facing the brunt of it and it's not funny. And in the coming days or in the coming weeks, if something is not done about it, it might be looking like the elections would most likely be postponed. And even looking at the PVC issue, you would find out that some people have not even been able to collect their PVCs. But of course, we'll open the phone lines, and we have Omokare from Edo State. Good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with Kike. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the show. Hello, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right. Please do call us.
The issue of... hello?
Go ahead, please. I can hear you loud and clear.
The issue of president having somebody in his mind. We all know in Nigeria here that what is happening is that the truth of the matter is that there are cabals that are controlling this, our president. Are you hearing me?
Go ahead, I'm with you.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. The truth of the matter is that the president has been controlled by the cabals. The president that is, in fact, is being controlled by the cabal. That is the reason why he has his four candidates in his mind. But he cannot really throw away his party now. You understand?
Yes.
So this is the reason why you see.
Go ahead.
This is the reason why he cannot. Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is that everybody knows that the president has his own candidate in his mind, but the cabal are the one that is controlling the president. You understand? So based on that, the Tinubu itself, the APC, we persevere, they will persecute even the president if he even lives now. That is the problem. We have problems in this country.
Are you saying that the president is torn between being loyal and supportive to his party and not speaking his mind? Are you saying that's simply what the issue is right now? There's a purported cabal in the works, and also the president doesn't have any choice than to go ahead with his party.
He's not speaking his mind. The problem is that the party, he hand is so tight.
Okay. Hello? Okay, we lost you, but yes, more importantly, what Omakare says is that the same speculations that a lot of Nigerians have been talking about, that there's a cabal in the seat of power who are making decisions for the president and not allowing for the right things that are supposed to happen to us as Nigerians to happen. But I believe at this point in time, it's important to just take note of some of these things that are happening. If there is truly a cabal, we definitely don't want to see that cabal go into the next president that we have. But at the end of the day, my question is, why is the president's hand tied? Okay, we have Paul from Abia State. Go ahead, Paul. Good afternoon, Paul. Welcome to Real Talk with Kike.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please go ahead with your contribution.
How are you?
Very well, fine. Thank you, Paul. Go ahead.
I want to say something about
Okay.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Paul, I can hear you loud and clear. Please go ahead.
The thing is so obvious that nobody can go and get money. This is something that should be very easy. And people should go to.
Hello?
Assuming I have a bank account.
Okay.
I have my own naira. I should go to my bank and give them the old naira. They give me the new naira note. But it's so difficult. If you see queue on the bank, it's so obvious there. So I don't know. Our government should do something. The CBN should do something about this issue.
But let me ask.
This is what I'm saying.
Yes, but let me ask you, Paul. Have you been dealing with the
So
issue?
do something about it. A man or a woman that have a bank account, if you have good naira, go to the bank and give them the old naira. Then they give you new naira. That's how it's supposed to be. Why is it so difficult?
Thank you so much, Paul, for that contribution. I also wanted to find out how you've been facing the issue personally. It's been such a hassle getting money. But of course, looking at some of the things that have happened in the past few days from Abeokuta, not literally been on fire, but just certain parts rocked by crisis, to the long queues at banks, is something that almost never happened before. In a working country and a working economy, there'll be a timeline for people to be able to deposit their old money and then bring in the new money. And even the court currently reportedly the court is stopping the president CBN from suspending the naira redesign, extending cash, because there was a deadline that was given, a 10 days deadline for the old naira note to be brought in and then swapped for the new naira note. But as it is, you know that there's some parts of the country that may not even be able to achieve this, but that's what the High Court has issued a restraining order from suspending the monetization policy of the federal government, because the northern part and some states, that's Kaduna, Kogi, have approached the court to stop the federal government from going on with the plan to phase out the old 200, 500 and the 1,000 naira notes, which they deemed very unacceptable, bearing the hardship or giving the hardship that a lot of Nigerians are facing. And even some of the parties are saying that they may not go ahead with the election if this issue is not sorted out. So back to some of the questions that I've been asking. Some of our callers are saying that it seems to be that there is a cabal who wants to sort of push for an interim government in the next few weeks. But my question at the end of the day is, this is not what we need in Nigeria, because an interim government will push us back again. And this is definitely, would I say, some sort of critical issues. And even looking at what Nasir El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, saying that there is some sort of Aso Rock element that is working against the quest of the APC to remain in power beyond 2023. I know that I believe that Nigerians will not stand for it. And like I said earlier, he said, and I quote once again, I believe that there are elements in the villa that want us to lose the election because they did not get their way. That's just the primaries. We're going to the main election. As you might say that even within the party system, within the party, there's been issues going on, but that shouldn't even affect the elections, and that shouldn't put Nigerians' life at jeopardy. Look at some of the things that happened just days ago, whereby a bank manager in Abuja was, had so much money on him, and they were supposed to dispense some of this money to the general public, and money was not dispensed because they wanted to service some very important dignitaries. These are some of the issues we're talking about. You put a policy in place, but at the end of the day, there's bound to be people who want to frustrate it. Already, Zenith Bank has been closed because they cannot do transactions, because they cannot give money out to people. So people cannot even get money. So what is happening? Where are we going to as a nation? This is a very, very critical moment. And like I said, we want your thoughts on this issue. The phone lines are open: 009-8877-400. That's to call us for wherever you are watching us, and let us know what your thoughts are and how have you been dealing with this issue. I know that not just here in Lagos, in different parts, in Edo, in Kano, in other parts of Nigeria, a lot of people have been having issues. And you might say, oh, why can't we use even the mobile apps for some banks have not been working. And when you go to the Northeast, you realize a lot of people in the Northeast, or some people in the Northeast, do not know how to do mobile banking. You still realize they prefer to go to the banks to withdraw money. So you can imagine the long queues that a lot of Nigerians are facing at the moment, and the hardship it is causing Nigerians just to be able to go about your point A to point B. You need cash, you need money, you can't do that. It's a big issue. So at the end of the day, like we said, or reiterate on the Real Talk with Kike show, there's a need for Nigerians to stay enlightened, and there is also a need for us to know who the politicians who are promising progressive and development inclined change in our country, and if they will make do or they will follow through with some of the promises that they have said. This is a very sensitive situation for Nigerians, and this is a very critical period. I want everyone to just try, as much as things are looking a bit difficult, and just see how things would emerge in the coming day and the coming weeks, which is the build-up to elections. Like I said, the phone lines are open for you to call us, but I believe that we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be going to still talking about some of these issues, and hoping that you'll be able to call us and let us know what you are facing, how are you facing these issues, and what are some of the preferred solutions that you think will be good for us to be able to wade through this very difficult moment that Nigerians are facing. Please don't go anywhere. A Real Talk with Kike. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Real Talk with Kike show, and if you're just joining also tuning into the show, I'm sure you were surprised to see me, but Kike is here in spirit, and we've been going through some of the issues that we're facing, predominantly the Naira redesign issue, and I'm looking at what is happening. Is there a talk of a cabal going on? Who is at the helm of affair? There's so many things that have been happening in the past few weeks, and even down to INEC in Lagos. They've been speculations of saying that last pack, which is headed by MC Oluomo, would most likely be carrying around sensitive INEC materials. This is almost not in good taste with Atiku, who is also running for the PDP, the presidential candidate on the PDP. And the media has been reporting this. That's the media. Frank Shaibu is saying this. So, I mean, so many things are happening, and Nigerians are talking. These are really not clear to us at this point. But at the end of the day, we definitely know that something positive has to be done with some of these issues that we are facing. And we definitely want you to call us in, let us know what you think about some of these issues that are happening right now. But we have John from Abuja on the line. Welcome, John. Good afternoon. Go ahead, John. Good afternoon. Okay, I think we lost that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I heard you talking about afternoon.
Yes, go ahead.
I heard you talking about the president having his own candidate, and he has to go with his party as well. Politics is a game of interest. There are times that these politicians will want us to dance to their tone. In essence, That's to tell you that he's not really supportive of his party per se. He just wants to support them because they are his party, but he has who he has in mind. That's to tell you that there's fire in the mountains. And the statement someone made about the presidency have a particular candidate they want to go for definitely is true. For him to say that, then it means he's not supportive of his party, and that's not fair. And for in terms of the currency problem we have in Nigeria, the timing is just too short. There are a lot of remote areas who don't even know about this down in the north. I'm from Kaduna State. There are people in the interior part that don't even know about this. And it's going to affect them greatly. If really it's not a political strategy, they would have done this thing a year ago so that we have enough space. And nobody will complain and say, I've not heard of it, because timing is right, because they'll be like, you have 1 year. It's possible it has gone to almost every part of the country. Technology-wise, we're not too strong. And then information has not gotten into deep parts of the, Nigeria. So why would you just come up with something haphazardly and you're expecting everybody to comply? It's wrong. So definitely we're going to take the political strategy. That's my point.
Okay, let me ask you, Jane, before you go off, what do you think the CBN could have done better to sort of ease Nigerian into this or reduce the burden of Nigerians? How could they have handled this issue better? All right, I think we lost Jane, but thank you so much for calling. I was going to ask what she thought about how the CBN could have handled it in a much better situation, or maybe they could have even given some sort of extension beyond this period. I know they gave initially 100 days, but they could have extended it for good cause, because once you put a policy out in play, there always will be people who want to frustrate that policy. Then it begins to seem like as if there is a political motive behind all of this. But at the end of the day, it seems like Nigerians are the ones facing the brunt of this situation, which is really not good for the political climate at this period and at this point. And even with talks of a cabal here and there, even within even Lagos State, and even talks of the person who they want to, handle sensitive materials, who seems to be loyal to, of course, Bala Ahmed Tinubu, of which the opposing party is against this situation. So there's so much going on in the country and in the county now that we need to speak about some of these issues. And that's why we open the phone lines for you to call us and let us know what your thoughts are. Overall, at the end of the day, is to enlighten you on what is necessary for every Nigerian to do, and to speak your mind and to speak up. And of course, that's why we open the phone lines. That's why you can send a message on Twitter. I will still call out the different Instagram, Twitter handles. Twitter, it's Real Talk with Kike, to let us know what you think about this redesign Naira issue. And of course, on Instagram, it's Real Talk with Kike, and let us know what you think about this situation. And you can also watch a recap of the show on YouTube. Real Talk with Kike on YouTube is also streaming live, so you can also go back and later watch, and let's get talking, let's get discussing about some of these issues that we're facing. And like I said at the beginning of the show, it is very, very important that we speak to the heart of the situation, and that's what this platform, a Real Talk with Kike, is all about. A mandate is, her voice is for you to get talking, get speaking, and put an end to ignorance, because ignorance, you say, is a major part of what Nigerians are going through. If you do not know what is happening in the country, if you're not aware of some of the situations, there's no way we can prefer solutions. So they say that an ignorant mass, you just keep leading an ignorant mass on. But I believe that Nigerians are pretty much enlightened at this period and at this moment. I believe that we can still take one or two more calls before we wrap up the show, and be letting us know what you think about the situation. And more importantly, how are you, or how have you been facing or dealing with the issue coming again? And for this past week, you will see that the roads have pretty much been empty. A lot of people have not been able to do their daily business because they cannot have access. And even the POS operators are inflating inflating the numbers. So if you want to collect a certain amount, they have inflated it. And even the CBN governor is saying that they would look for a way to put an end to this situation that would prevent the POS operators from, going ahead with. But then at the end of the day, if people cannot have access to money, they will go down that route. And when they go that route, they will do all what they need to get money to move around. And when you put this situation, or you make sure this Naira redesign issue is in tandem with the fuel crisis, which of course is still going on at the point. What do we make of all of this? And we'll be wrapping up the show, I believe, very soon. But then again, I want you to think deeply about some of the things that we've been talking about from the beginning of the show, and how Nigerians are dealing with some of this really difficult crisis. I don't think we've had it worse in years, or because we've always had to do with our share of the fuel situation, but this is something that is very, 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 very difficult and very hard for us to cope. But thank you so much. I would say once again, for those who called us from the different parts that you watched, thank you for calling and let us know what you think, or lending your ear to some of the discussions that we'll be having. And like we always say, it's very important for Nigerians to stay enlightened. I will say that once again. And there's a need for us to know the politicians who are progressive and development inclined, that will continue the good projects of previous administration to give us continuity, because we need continuity in this country. We need a working government, and we need a country that will be great. So if we have a country that would be great, people will need to jackpot to other parts of the world. But on that note, we've come to the end of another edition of Real Talk with Kike. It's been amazing, talking to you, and also just getting to the heart of this issue on Real Talk with Kike. And like we said, you can also reach us on all our different social media platforms and let us know what you think about these different issues that we have talked about and I have discussed on the show. And of course, like we always say, we've come to the end of another edition of Real Talk with Kike. My name is Tolu Ajibola. I will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. See you again. Bye.